Hi and welcome to this little video on tonight's theme, which is food and art. So we're going to take the ice cream, the 3-scoop ice cream in a waffle cone. We're just going to take a very simple outline drawing of this as a stencil. We're going to work with pencil crayons, and what we're going to do is we're going to just use a series of mark making techniques with very vivid colours just to show light and dark, depth of tone, and just going to give it a little bit of a pop using pencil crayon. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to use hatching. So hatching is a series of lines. So these lines can be vertical, they can be horizontal, or they can be diagonal. And they don't want to crisscross over like cross hatching. And obviously the way that we show intensity of tone is by putting lines closer together, and the way that we'd show lighter tone would be to open lines out. Okay, so that's the basic technique we're going to use. So we're going to use pencil crayons. So we're going to start doing a little 3-scoop ice cream just with very pop colours, and off we go. So on this scoop here, zoom in a little bit, on this scoop here, and so I'm going to use yellow. I'm going to use diagonal lines. So single strokes rather than up down stroke. And then as it's slightly darker here, I'm going to get an orange in there, and then use the red tone just in between. Got lighter pressure. So that's my first little scoop. Might move into, I mean, these can be unrealistic colours, so I'm just picking sort of different colour palettes really. So I might do a chocolate actually. So I'm going to start with this one, I think a bit of chocolate. So I'm going to do my lighter brown hatch, and I'm just, as the curvature is going in, like the ball, like here, this is darker, so these lines are going to be more intense. So as this goes into the cone and underneath each particular lump here, so these lines are going to be a little bit more intense as well. So this is quite open here, but there is a section, and then just trying to create some different texture. I'm going to work with, I think this is a dark brown, maybe a black actually, just to create that intensity. It will be where, maybe underneath. What would sort of get underneath the cone. This is quite light there. So little flicks. So these are just single stroke flicks. Just extend my colour palette maybe. Just get some yellows. So let's just look at where they, and oranges, get some highlights on here. So I'm just going to pick out, because I have a full range of colours. Let's just pick out some yellows. Like that, and then what should we do? This one, let's do like a mint. So I might use yellow, light green and dark green, so relationship colours. So this one's very, very light because this one's actually on top of that lump and in front of that one, so there isn't a great deal of shadow tone apart from just a little bit in there. So I'm just going to start with, I'm going to start with the overall light green, I think. So just keeping the lines, the hatch lines, so quite fluid strokes. Obviously we're not crisscrossing. I'm just going to pick these out just to try and keep the shape, because I haven't, as you see, I haven't outlined it. So the edge of the actual hatching is actually forming the shape. So a little bit darker here, so what I'm going to go in and go in with a more intense hatch line, just to create a sense of tone. And if I wanted to go slightly, I'm just going to go darker in spaces here, just to create that light and dark. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a blue, because I can't go any darker than that green, so just to get even darker I might just go blue into this, just to try and get a little bit darker on there. Now obviously I'm trying to translate this, what would be the darkest scoop here, so this is really dark behind, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm maybe going to press a little bit harder with a red. Trying to break my pencil crayon now. Oh no. Because that sits behind that one. Completely destroyed the lead on that one. And I might even just add a little bit of brown to it, just to get behind that green, and then obviously just distinguish the three lumps behind there, so we've got a little bit of shading coming out there, so that's quite clear. That wants to be a little bit darker in here maybe, so I'm going to go with a brown, and then this piece in here I'm going to go, and then a little bit over here, and then I think that's probably enough for our little 3 scoops. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tackle the cone. So usually sort of oranges, you know, skin tony colours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, left hand side of the cone here is very light, so I'm going to start with a yellow. I'm going to put a yellow over all of it, just to get my shape. And then on the right hand side, which is darker, I'm going to just go so far down all the way down on the right hand side to create very much a light and dark shape. And then I might add in some orange in between, just to create some intensity of tone on that side. And yeah, I think we'll just leave it there, nice and simple on that one, just creating a 3D colour tone just using hatching lines. Hi, welcome to this little video on food art, and the next little demo I'm going to do based on our 3 scoop ice cream is cross hatching with pencil crayons using vivid pop colours, looking at 3D tone, so dark and light. So our first little video we did was hatching, so straight lines, so now we're going to go into cross hatching, trying to capture some of the depth of tone between each of the little scoops, and obviously a light and a dark side onto that. So cross hatching, remember, is a series of lines, diagonal, vertical, horizontal. Doesn't really matter to get this wire approach. The darker the tone, the more intense the crosshatch. Closer together gives that illusion of depth of tone. The more open, yeah, gives that illusion of lighter tone. So that's the technique we're going to be using today. Right, so let's make a start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down some tones for this first scoop, so maybe like a mango sorbet. So translating this lighter on the side, so start off nice and light, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start adding some crisscross, and then a little bit bit more intensity. So just where we've got that depth of tone. So opening that out. So what I'm trying not to do with this drawing is actually form an outline. So I'm allowing the tone to form an outline around the outside. So I'm just putting some texture inside this little section. So I'm just going to start with one colour on each one first. So this one I might do as, let's do this one as a chocolate like in the last one. So let's see what this one looks like. So lots of texture in here, lots of light on this side. So I'm going to start with let's start with a hatching open structure, and then what we'll do is we'll pick out some cross hatch underneath. And then obviously where this would turn under the cone. Like this. This is on the top, but I might still. So then start crisscrossing. Just make this a little bit more intense. Yeah, let's just get that basic in place. Okay, and then we're going to have the mint one. So quite light. So I'm just going to do very open hatch to start with, and then I'm going to just start putting some crisscrosses in, just as the spheres obviously are taking on a little bit more 3D form. So a little bit light and dark. And then on the cone, we'll start again. We're going to put in single hatch lines, and then I'm going to, just on the right hand side, which is darker, just crisscross, cross hatching on the right hand side, so it starts to look dark. So then if I want to make this even darker, if I didn't have blunt pencil, put another layer of cross hatch over there. So that would be a very simple single colour, so it's still a little bit flat. So I think what we'll do is we'll work the other colours into it now. So I'm going to go even darker in here with the red. And this will just add some more depth of tone. So smaller cross hatches. And then I might add another colour. I think I might add the blue to make it stand out more on this second one where the green is. So I'm going to do some little cross hatch sections here. So this is more of a stylised version rather than, obviously we're going for realism as such, but more graphical, illustrative in style. Then the chocolate, so I think I might go black on this just to make it show up. So this is under, so I'm just going to get really sharp. And then maybe and then inside, so where this is going, a bit more stylized on that. And then I think we need to be darker on there. It wants to be darker to make sure it's receding into the background. So I think what I might do is I might even add a blue to this actually. So I'm just going to go, I'm not sure that's the right thing to do, but just what's at hand. Just get that knocking back a little bit. So you could outline these if you want, but it's just quite nice to just get these sort of shapes. And then on this side here, I think I'd say we're just gonna put some brown overlaid over the yellow, and then just to get that more 3D. Down the cone, and we get sort of quite a nice stylized look. I think I might just add some more yellow to this side. Just to get that shape, something like that. And if you wanted to then do outlines, we could. So, you know, you could sort of, I mean, you could do it on the edge of the pencil, so you could get a nice rough edge to it and really define that if you wanted. Oh, just broke my pencil. Let's do it with the blue then, doesn't really matter. So we could define these edges. If you're not happy with the shape, just make them a little bit more stand out. Okay, so that's our second sort of stylized ice cream triple scoop using crosshatch. Hi and welcome to this next video in our series on colour tone and mark making around food in art. So using the subject of 3-scoop ice cream in a waffle cone, so far we have looked at hatching tone, so not creating an outline, just letting the light and dark tone combinations of hatching or linear. We have then looked at cross-hatching, same thing again, and then just at the end I've added some outer edges, so colour mixing. And now we're going to look at scribble. So let's just familiarise ourselves. So this was hatching, yeah, and we changed the intensity and frequency of the lines for colour tone. Same thing with cross-hatching, changing the intensity and frequency of the crisscross for colour tone. And this one is just going to be literally almost like, you know, woolly sheep, pig's tail type scribble. The more intense, the smaller the scribble, the darker the tone, the more open the wire structure, the lighter the tone. Nice and simple. Okay, so we'll start off with one colour on each area and then we'll build up from there. So following the same colour palette as before. So we're going to start on this top left one, so we're going to start with our yellow. So translating this black and white photograph into light and dark. So we've got more intensity of scribble, press harder maybe, tighter scribbles on that one, it's quite a quick one to do. Just picking out little bits of texture. And this one we're going to go for our sort of mint, so a little bit more intensity. In the base, opening it out. This one is in front of that one. with our mint colour, and then our sort of chocolate. I might start with this sort of colour this time actually. It's almost like a toffee colour. So just slightly more intensity in and around. On that one, on our side here, start with yellow again. Arm ache, finger ache. Trying to keep, I suppose, more pressure as well as a tighter scribble, which will get that intensity change of colour tone. So you can see it's a lot darker on this side, and that's lighter pressure as well as maybe an open scribble. So that'll be really simple, just one colour, still quite flat. So then we're going to build this up now. So we're probably going to go with, next up from the yellow, might go this caramel colour on here actually. On the right hand side. You can sort of change your pencil grip a little bit, it can be a little bit more over the top pencil grip with this. That's quite nice because it's just sort of sitting on the wax of the yellow, so where there's no yellow, it's sort of just picking up slight curls, so you're not getting perfect curls, which is really nice. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up the brown in this section here. Cheaper pencil crayons don't blend very well. Once you've got an amount of that waxy pencil crayon on the top, they're not brilliant for sitting on top of each other. So it's not massively great that, so I'll just try one more just on this side, and then underneath where the ice cream is, casting a shadow down the cone. Like so. Got a bit more 3D on that one. Let's go back up to this one up here, and then let's start to add the orange. It's got some, so I'm going to pick out some various bits and bobs due to the texture. And I'm going to work with the red, get it quite dark behind there. Might even add a dark brown actually, because that even on a red will just give us that sort of crimson maroon feeling that I can't get because I don't have a darker red. So a little bit more intensity there. With our green, let's try a little bit of darker green. I think we must use a darker green. Let's go for the blue then. Just finishing off this little picture here. So we've had some intensity into the blue, we've added some brown and black just in and around this one, and a little bit more intensity onto that end, and there we go.